If you ask me what my favorite game is, I would always say Halo comes to mind. In terms of like story based games, definitely Shadow of the Colossus and Final Fantasy VII. But my daily driver, the game I come back to every single day and play with my friends and am totally obsessed with, is Call of Duty. And Modern Warfare 2 is really kind of, I think, a linchpin in some of the insanity of kind of the like Fortnite-ification of Call of Duty, right? Where you're starting to get a lot of really odd character choices that are very cartoonish in nature. And I don't just mean actual cartoon characters like here or comic book characters, but you had the crossover with The Boys. You have Laura Croft. You have a lot of Nicki Minaj. You have a lot of these kind of character choices that don't really kind of meet the mark when it comes to a tactical shooter. Running around with the pot ops gun where it's all based on marijuana, right? Or running around fighting with Snoop Dogg as you're breaching a enemy stronghold is definitely more of that Fortnite kind of, let's just add some goofy crossover stuff. And I don't mind it, by the way. I just want to be clear. It doesn't bother me, but there are some bundles that have come out which have blown my mind in terms of how cool they could be. Yes, you do have bizarre stuff, as I mentioned, but you also have some really interesting things that I think pay an interesting tribute to what the origins of a first-person shooter were, but also kind of doing it in a sort of respectful way. And that's why I love the Doom Tracer pack so much. And I bought it when it came out last week. I didn't get a chance to talk about it, and I want to talk about it now. We're going to jump into the firing range in just a moment so you could see this gun in action. But this is the low poly super shotgun that was in the original Doom game. Arguably, the greatest... the Mac Daddy of them all when it comes to first-person shooters, right? I mean, it's been ported a zillion different times. It's highly loved and revered by everybody in the world who's ever played a first-person shooter, and it's impossible not to talk about where we are today without remembering the roots. So the fact that they went back to the original model and got this low-poly resolution is awesome. And they've added in the super shotgun. They've also added in the chainsaw, and they've also added in a kind of interesting death animation, which you could see here. You'll notice the enemies have that kind of explosive, that like pixelated explosion on them, which is something, again, paying a tribute to the original. With the chainsaw, very similar in the same way where you have that kind of light splash of blood popping up. Again, paying tribute to the original, which is awesome. It also includes a gun screen, which gun screens have gotten kind of weird over the years. Gun screens now, they used to just be a very quick indicator of like your compass or your kill to death ratio. Now, gun screens are talking to you. They're making jokes to you, or in this case, paying tribute to the Doom guy with, constantly giving everybody side eye as he looks around. And depending on how you play and how you get shot, obviously that icon will change, just like in the original Doom HUD. You also get some customizations, weapon stickers and loading screens, things like that, which do kind of help finalize the package. But what makes this so unique is that this gun is low frame rate, and it pays tribute to that original Doom graphic where processing power really was kind of at a limit in terms of what you could run. Now, by today's standards, running games, at least for me, I'm a 120 frame per second snob now. So I like to play games at 120 FPS. There's a lot of people who play games at 60 frames per second that have some ray tracing features or full-blown 4K at 30, but running a lower frame rate than 30 is very heavily frowned upon. So when you see a gun like the Doom gun in action in a game, let me just pick a random gun here, and you can see how smooth my movement is. Right now I'm getting, I'm locked at a 120 FPS. Seeing how smooth everything is going, right? And how polished everything is, right? It looks great. The reload animations, the shooting animations, everything is nice and clear, and there's no skipping or stuttering or missed frames or anything like that. And that's typically how most first-person shooters are. But what makes the Doom gun so cool is that, yes, you still have that nice, super smooth movement in terms of, your character, but when you shoot and you reload, you notice it's kind of choppy. And when you're running in place, you could see how it's kind of a lower frame rate now. And I love that they've taken this ability to kind of lower this frame rate down. Even with the chainsaw, it has a very stuttery effect to it. This isn't me like doping the frame rate. I'm moving around freely. You could see that this is what it looks like. It's intentionally meant to be jumpy and skippy, and I love that. And you get the old school explosion sound. You get the red kind of flames at the top that pay tribute to the original. And I think that is so, so cool. So I think they absolutely crushed this particular skin. More than any other skin, more than any other bundle that's available in the game. When you're playing a game and it looks like this and it's intentionally out of place with everything else around it, especially at a high frame rate mode, it is very, very fascinating. And I'm so happy that Call of Duty put this in. It opens my mind to potentially other legendary, unique weapons. I don't necessarily think Call of Duty has to have space for all of these, but paying tribute to the original is something that I greatly appreciate. This bundle was $20. I paid it instantly. I didn't care. I love it. You could say it's overkill, but when you're playing like Warzone or DMZ last night and you're running around and playing with this, or when Zombies mode comes out here very, very soon with Modern Warfare 3, this will absolutely be my daily driver. So that's my love letter to Call of Duty and my love letter to the Doom Super Shotgun Tracer Pack. If you are a fan, I highly encourage you to check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.